Okay, so after flying for 14 hours, I've come out of hibernation today. Actually, I came out last night for an hour, and we're on our way right now. I'm in Sydney, and see, Sydney, look, move the camera around, Sydney. It looks like San Francisco right now, so I could be in Frisco and just telling you I'm in Sydney, but I'm in Sydney. And we're getting ready to do our first live Australian interview for Hell in a Handbasket. And we're on our way. And there's Tony driving. Say hi, Tony.
Hello. Hey, Tony.
And there's Tatiana up there from Sony. And Kelly's running the camera. And we're off for now. And I'm going to answer some questions. First question is, will you make a YouTube clip with Patty? I don't know. If she's around in this, and yeah, why? Yeah, of course I would make a YouTube clip with Patty. In other words, what you're saying is you want me to go out of my way to make a YouTube clip with Patty. So in other words, like before the show, when I'm like in like bull mode, or but I'll try to do that. There you go. Okay. What's your favorite music and who influenced you the most? Gospel and gospel music probably had the biggest influence, and second biggest influence I would have to say is musicals. Rodgers and Hammerstein, Rodgers and Hart, Annie Get Your Gun, Oklahoma, Carousel, I don't know, keeps going, moving on like that. And then finally the Rolling Stones in the 60s, when they came out and introduced me to the blues. So there you go. What do I think of the TV show Ghost Adventurers? I think there's only one true ghost show on TV, and that is Ghost Hunters, because all the others go in to show you that they're ghosts there. And Ghost Hunters, Grant and Jason, they go in to tell you there's not. They go in to try to explain why there's not a ghost in your house, or there's not a ghost in this building. They look for the alternative, as opposed to going in and going, oh, there's a ghost here. So I much prefer that. How was it to work with Jack Black on Tenacious D? Well, I've known Jack a long time. In fact, Jack was originally cast to play, this is before you knew who Jack Black was, originally cast to play me in that VH1 bio television pick. And so he was originally cast, and then it got postponed, and his career took off, and after that he kept saying, I want Meat to play my father. And I said, when Jack calls me and asks me, I will. So one Sunday, I'm watching football, Jack calls me on the phone, Meat, this Jack. And I'm trying to figure out, Jack who? And it took me about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm talking to him, because he's like saying, well, they said you wanted me to call you. And I'm going, who did I say? Finally I figured out, oh, Jack! Jack, how are you? So there you go. Oh, if there's ever a show you could perform again, which one would it be and why? Well, there's 2 shows, and they were both in the same place. They were both in Amsterdam, and they're both in a theater called the Ahoy. No, not the Ahoy, that's the Rotterdam venue, the Heineken Music Hall. And 2 shows back to back, probably the worst 2 shows of my entire career. And why? Well, first of all, I don't like the Heineken Music Hall. I don't like the way it sounds in there. And second of all, the first one I was really sick, and the second one, I don't know. It had to just do with my my inability to play the Heineken Music Hall. So those 2 I would play over, only I wouldn't play them in the Heineken Music Hall. I'd go down to Rotterdam and play them at the Ahoy. How do you, the question is, how do you decide what song's going to go in your show? It comes from, you start, I kind of start in the center and figure out when I want to be in the middle of the show, and I build I want to, and I build it kind of backwards. Then I go to the front. Once I decide what's in the middle, I go to the front because I want to take an audience as high as I can at the front of the show and leave them there for the remainder of the show. So I don't know how I decide. I just kind of, I pick what I like, and sometimes the band offers suggestions, like on this tour, Hot Patootie, in 2007, I said I'd never do the Eddie song in the show, but see, we're still in Sydney, and I said I'd never do that, but Paul and them came in with an arrangement that was fantastic, and now then for the Aussie tour, we've changed the arrangement ever so slightly, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, and it's a surprise. And how many songs from Hell in the Handbasket will be in the Aussie tour too? The first song and the last song, well, next to the last song, sort of the last song, All of Me and Stand in the Storm. And those two will be in the show because I haven't been down here in a while, so we're doing 3 from Henkel, Teddy Bear, and a couple from Hell in the Handbasket. The Hell in the Handbasket tour really starts next year. So this is why I didn't call it Hell in a Handbasket Tour. I didn't call it Hang Cool Tour. I call it Guilty Pleasure Tour because I think I've said this before, but I'm not sure. I was voted number 2 or 3 guilty pleasure of all time in Entertainment Weekly. So I figured, okay, call it that. There you go. What made you decide to perform at the grand final? Somebody asked me. They said, "Will you perform?" And it sort of was built in part of this tour. So, yeah, and it's I don't know. They asked me. So if you ask me really nice, I might come to your house and perform. But you got to ask nice. What movie roles did you turn down we know of? Well, I'm not going to ever tell you that. You know several. But I would never, ever venture out to tell you what movie roles I've turned down. What's on your playlist at the moment? I don't know. I don't really listen to music that much. I listen. What happens is I'll hear something. I love the show in America, So You Think You Can Dance. And every week, I always wind up, unless I know the song, downloading the music. So our little camcorder stopped for a second. So what happens is every week that I listen to watch So You Think You Can Dance, I wind up downloading their music and I listen to it. And I just downloaded last night. Oh man, it's a young band, and to the life of me I can't remember. But I'll tell you next time we answer questions. I can't believe I can't remember the name of the band. I never heard of them, and then something turned me on to them somehow, and I don't remember them. Do I watch Curb Your Enthusiasm? No. What would be your one piece of advice to an aspiring young actor in order to have a successful career? Act. Study. Don't be like so many actors who think that you don't have a coach, because you shouldn't have a coach. I mean, I have 2 or 3 that I go for different things at different times for. And if you look at it like any professional, opera stars have Pavarotti at his prime had a singing coach that would warm him up and make corrections. Tiger Woods, when he was #1 golfer, had a coach. Baseball players have hitting coaches, fielding coaches. Everybody has coaches. The AFL, Aussie Rules Football, they got coaches. So an actor, I have a friend, and I say, you know, you're really good. And I said, sometimes you're good, sometimes you're great. And just think, if you went to a coach, you could probably be incredible and amazing. But actors tend to think they don't need coaches, which I think is insane. And when they do get a coach, they on the set, they keep it quiet. They pretend, oh, my friend's here. And so I don't understand it. Am I in contact with Sean Murphy? Sean Murphy is Stoney. No, but I do have her number, and I am going to call her. In fact, I was going to do it the other day, and I got sidetracked. In so many film scenes, you drive a semi. I've driven semis and buses, and can I drive one? Yes. But I wouldn't want to back one up or try to park it. And now we got to go in. We're going to do this interview. So we'll move on to more later. Bye.